Hello everybody and welcome to yet another math video. In this video, I'll be going over notes for assignment 10 for the ABS class. But more broadly, I will be going over how to graph linear functions using the slope and y-intercept or using the x-intercept and y-intercept. But before we get into all that, I've got to go over what all of those mean. What is a slope? What is an x-intercept? What is a y-intercept? Well, a slope basically just tells you how far a line is slanting in one direction or another. What do I mean by that? Well, when we look at the line in example A, this line right here, you'll notice it's slanting. And we always want to go left to right. We like to look at lines, we like to analyze lines left to right. So as I start left and move to the right along this line, you'll notice it's going up. So this line is what we would say increasing. On the other hand, when you look at the line in example 2, when you start on the left side of the line and move to the right, you'll notice this line is going down. So we would call this line decreasing. Why is it important to know if a line is increasing or decreasing? Well, this has to go back with what I want to explain as part of slope. For slope, a line that is increasing like this will have a positive slope. And a line that is decreasing will have a negative slope. Okay, cool. So we know positive slope, we know negative slope. Why don't we just classify them as positive and negative slopes instead of doing more with that? Well, I want you to look at example 3 really quickly. You can see that as I start on the left side of this line and move to the right, this is another decreasing line. And as I start on the left side and move to the right for example 4, this is increasing and this line has a positive slope. So we can't just say, hey, this is a positively sloped line and this is a positively sloped line and they're the same thing. They're sloping at different rates. So that's what we have to concentrate on now, is finding what is that rate? How can we measure that rate? Well, I'm glad you asked. So we pick 2 points on a line. And what's awesome is you can pick any 2 points on a line. The fact that lines are straight is what allows us to pick any 2 points on that line. So for example, I could pick this point right here and this point over here. Those 2 points. Why would I pick those points? It's easy to identify the coordinates here. So this is -2, -5. This point on the right side has a coordinate pair of 4, 4. Why is that important? Well, back to what slope is. Slope is the measure of how far you rise and how far you run. Meaning, how far do we have to change our y values and how far do we have to change our x values to get from one point to another. That being said, as I travel from this point to this point, I can only move up, down, left, or right. So I can't travel diagonally like this. I have to move either up, down, left, or right. So if I wanted to travel from this point to this point, I could move up. How many would that be? 9. Right there. That would be a positive 9 because if you move up on the coordinate plane, you're moving in the positive y direction. And if from here, if I ran to the right to get to that point, there I am. I arrived. But how far to the right did I have to run? That would be 6. So we have a rise of 9. We have a run of 6. So the slope I'm going to put off to the left here would be 9/6. Oh, but we're not done. We have to make sure that the fraction, if the slope is a fraction, that it is in lowest terms. So this would be 3 over 2. Now, what is super amazing about this is I can travel backward if I wanted to. I could start at that left point and move back to, I could start at the right point and move back to the left. So if I started at 4, 4 and I could only go up, down, left, or right, and I'm trying to travel to this point, I like to rise first. I always rise first when I find slopes. So I could move down from that point and get a -9, and I could move left from there and get -6. So my rise is now -9, and my run is now -6, because moving down is a negative y action, and moving left is a negative x action. So if I come off to the side again, -9 over, -6. Negative divided by negative is positive. 9 divided by 6 simplifies to, you guessed it, 3 over 2. Now one more example just to drive home the point. I'm going to use green. I'm going to pick this point right here. And I'm going to pick this point way up here. All right. You will rise 15. You will run 10 to the right from there. Guess what? We have a rise over run, which is 15 over 10. You can simplify that to 3 over 2. So like literally, you can pick any 2 points. You can start at one of the points and move to the other, as long as you remember. Moving to the right is positive. Moving to the left is negative. Moving up is positive. Moving down is negative. If you can keep those 4 things straight, you can find the slope of any line. So let's take a look at example 2. So I pick, I pick this point and this point. Now I like to start from the left point and either rise or run, or rise then run. So I will drop down 5, and since I'm moving down, it'll be a -5. And then I will go to the right 2. So the slope here would be -5 over 2. And that's it. That does not simplify. And it matches up with the fact that I said there would be a negative slope for this line. Also, all of these 3 over 2s are positive. This has a positive slope. It's all matching up. It's like divine intervention. Math is beautiful. All right, so let's take a look here at example 3, 4, 5, and 6. It won't take but a couple minutes. Example 3, you can pick any 2 points you like. Again, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to pick this one and this one. And again, I'm picking these points because they have nice whole number coordinates. So again, I like to start at the left. So I get to go down 1. That's a -1 for the rise. To the right 4. Rise over 1. Run, -1 over 4. That can't be simplified, and it matches up with the fact that earlier in this video, you may have forgotten, it was so long ago, I said this was a negative slope. So I'm checking to make sure my answer is negative. It sure is. All right, next, example 4. Looks like there's a point here, and there's another point here. Again, already mentioned, this should have a positive slope as it is increasing left to right. So I will rise 3, and I will run 5. So the slope here, the rise is 3 over 5. That's it. There we go. 3 over 5. That doesn't need to reduce. It's positive. Example 5. This is a vertical line. You can tell because of the vertical line. Vertical lines are up and down. Now for the time being, vertical lines we are just going to define as having an undefined slope. You may have heard in the past, no slope, or this has an infinite slope. No, we just call it undefined. It's an undefined slope. We can't put a number to it, so we don't know what it is. We say it's undefined. Now with example 6, the slope is what we would say 0. This is a 0 slope line, and it's flat. So any horizontal line will have a 0 slope. All right, I'm going to be done with it for this video. I know there was a lot of information up front. There's another video for this set of notes coming on the screen right about now. I hope this makes sense. You're going to need it as we move forward, and I wish you luck.